So often when we hear discussions about smart grids, we also hear mention of renewables. What's the connection between renewables and smart grids?
Now, you might say, in fact, that smart grids, the reasoning for it is the fact that we have decentralized production and centralized production, that we put on the renewables from sun or from wind into the grid and want to have them delivered there where consumption is. And that we can use this grid more efficiently in both directions.
And what is different about these newer renewable energy sources compared to the traditional fossil fuels? What are the fundamental differences?
The fundamental difference is that our normal grid is being made from a central point distributed. And now we use this central point distributed grid in the reverse way as well. And we want to stabilize it. We want to have a growth of at least 5% more energy transportation on the same grid, on the same copper, and do that in a stable way. And that's the reason with the centralized, decentralized, that you need to make it more smarter as it is now.
And what kind of renewables are we talking about here? What kind of?
We talk about wind, we talk about sun, that kind of stuff, what you put on your house. But also think about, for instance, here in Holland, about the gas production. We make now, let's say, water, let's say, heat pumps, where we also produce electricity with heat, so they can be used when there is a peak demand on electricity. Then you say, okay, heat the houses a half degree up. Then that can also be put on an alternative, say, for the PV panels on your roof. That kind of things.
And you talk about distributed generation in terms of how it fits onto the grid. Isn't it also possible that this whole idea of distributed generation means we won't need a grid in the future?
No, that is not the case. I think if you will say we build only decentralized grids, so we cut off from the main, the influence of the, let's say, the decentralized production on the in or around the houses, it should be that big that we never will happen. You have to think about, if you talk about wind energy, you will not put a windmill in your garden. So you put them there where there is enough wind and where there is enough space. So there will be always a line to it. Take as an example, for instance, the university here in Holland, Wageningen, has 2 windmills in the North Sea, producing for them. So they need the grid in total.
They need some sort of connection, but maybe not a vast grid like we have at the moment.
Yes, but if you want to make a private connection to that, like you do with the VPN or for your internet, that is even more expensive.
2 more questions, Harry. One is, when you're explaining this industry to members of your family that don't understand a word of it, how do you get them excited and interested in what's going on here? What do you say? What language do you use to explain why this is interesting?
And the very simple thing everybody's listening to. What is in for you and what is your added value? And where do you make your money with in the next 3 years? That's what they want to hear. And they see that if I follow interoperability, if I follow this line, I see the opportunity that I can offer this and this added value to my extending customer or even to potential new ones. And I can use this product, sell this product with a higher margin.
And perhaps you've answered that question. My next question with that answer is, I'll ask it anyhow. What advice would you give to the utility companies that are here at Utility Europe?
For me, it is very simple. Have a look. What are the tendencies coming up, and pick them out and look where your asset management is at the moment, where your legacy is, and look 10 years ahead, where do you want to be, and what are the systems which will fill in the total gap. That's what they have to do.
Harry, thank you very much.
You're welcome.